I'm dealing with so much stuff. And you know what? It's problems that were created when I moved to Fort Worth, Texas, back here in 2019, 2020, somewhere around that time range. Um, this demonic, satanic, bitch ass family. And I just got one girl name. Well, I got several names, but this one female, when she hacked me and stole my identity and stuff, she signed the name off on it. Her real name, Andrea Bryant. Okay, so that's on like when I did the Google One thing and they did a dark web search, all my information was used where she was using my name, my birthday, my social, my addresses, my phone numbers. What prompted this stupid ass criminal to put her name off to the side? Still, I can't figure that out. But I think that worked to my advantage. Like, cause look, I wouldn't have never known that was her name. And she tried to say like, that ain't even none of her name. And then whoever was sitting beside her was like, ooh, that's your name. You know? So that's how I know Andrea Nicole Bryant is her real name. And when I say this girl has done identity theft, she has hacked, she has cloned my devices, she has stolen from me. She's did the same with my minor daughters, my minor child. You know, she's hacked into her social media accounts, you know, has downloaded 400 and 500 apps on our phones, just spyware, malware. She built apps, you know, she's made herself device administrator over all of my devices, even my child devices, even school devices, even my work device. But when I handed my work device over to my supervisor, tell her like, look, something was wrong with it, she hurried up and did something and it was back working to normal. You know, so again, I say this because she'll try to make it look like, you know, she ain't doing nothing when she's messing up everything in my life. And she don't think that she's gonna get in trouble for it, for nothing that she's done. You know, and this shit been going on for like 6 years. You know, I don't know them, they don't know me. They hacked into my life like some imposters just came in, like the Bible say, a thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, like a thief in the night. You know, and that's what they did. And it's a lot of them over there, and they gang stalked me all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The belittlement, the dehumanization, the invasion of privacy, the messing with your personal information, like, you know, the monitoring, the tracking, the harassing, the cyberbullying, all these things I have encountered for the past 6 years from Andrea Nicole Bryant. Okay, so she stays in Broadmoor Apartments in Fort Worth, Texas. The street name is 2800 Thorson. That's Thorson Lane. 2800 Thorson Lane, apartment 4303 in Fort Worth, Texas 76116. Okay, so when I figured out all this was going on, I left my apartment in Fort Worth because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know why, you know, people were able to actually see me in real time in my house. I don't care what I was doing. You know, for many years, I started just to turn off every light, you know, in the house, you know, whether it was me taking a shower, me sleeping, me just sitting, whatever. I just would have it pitch black dark. But then they figured out another way. They started using like UV rays where I could see little lights and different things, like, you know. And when it first started, I was in my apartment in 4303. Okay, so I know this video kind of all over the place, but everything gonna fall into place. So the devices that they were using, I did like a Google takeout. And on that Google takeout, I could see a Nest, I could see a Pixel, I saw a Linux, I saw a Mac OS book, I saw an iPhone. And then of course she's cloned my Androids, my daughter's iPhone, my daughter's iPad, you know, so she was able to have all of these devices some type of way hooked up to one main server, which is in her house. She also says she has a non-profit organization because she was on Wikipedia, and before she blocked my IP address, I was able to get on there and read different things that she would put out. So On Wikipedia, I think her handle name is Shay-1, Shay-2, some shit like that. She often uses NWG, non-working group, and she said that is her non-profit organization. Well, she has 100,000 people platform or something like that, so that's why she got all them plugins. But she don't get paid. She just get money for people keeping the equipment at her house. She's not collecting any money, which is a lie, because she's illegally streaming me, live streaming me, and selling what she live streams. Because my life is on a continual roll. Like, I found it one time on Chromium, and it was like it had been rolling for like 520 some weeks. So it's 52 weeks in a year. It's 52 weeks in a year now. So this shit been going on for 500 and this was probably 2 years ago when I saw this. So just imagine, it's been going on for some time. So when I saw it, and it's like 520 something weeks or whatnot, she made it where I couldn't go back on there because, again, she made herself device administrator over my devices. Mind you, I don't know this lady. I don't know nothing about her and why she's doing this and why she has made my life something that she can destroy, you know, and have me to pick up the pieces. It's like she create problems and then sit back and wait on the reaction. You know, like, who does that? Want to see somebody down and out, not have nothing. She tore up a whole car, a 2014 Dodge Avenger. It was my car. I paid cash for it. I had the title to it. She tore up my radio first. And I didn't even know until I heard her bragging to one of her friends about it. You know, I don't want to stole her radio. You know, what took her radio was she can't play the radio. And if I want to get another radio, then I have to take that radio out and buy me a whole new system to put inside the car. But I wasn't going to do that. So, after she did that, she made it where I couldn't play the radio at all. I'm talking about not using Bluetooth, not using anything. My Bluetooth on my devices, I can often look at them and they be on. And mind you, I don't have no earphones in. I don't have no Bluetooth hooked up. And I went up on my baby's iPad. I can look on the Bluetooth and see how many devices hooked up. And it was hundreds of them. I'm talking about LG Webos. It's hundreds of them. So, this is going on to me, and I'm just I hope the feds can see this. I really do, because I want the feds to get to it before I do, you know, because I ain't never killed nobody before, and the way that they have destroyed my life, you know, the way my sanity is at this point, they don't deserve to live. Well, especially Andrea Bryant, she don't, because what other human being does this to another human being? You know, someone that you don't know, you just stole their stuff, and if it wasn't enough that you didn't, I had to put my social security, I had to put a freeze on my social. If that wasn't enough, you know, the constant harassment, the constant monitoring, the constant invasion of privacy, and they got their mom and them set over there, and I don't think nobody watching them like this. So why do they think it's okay to do it to me? You know, so it's been going on for some time now. So she calls me ugly maybe about 6,000 times a day. Otherwise, you know, she ain't never met me. She ain't never said 2 words to me because she was scary. You know, when I stayed over there in the same apartment complex with her right in front of her, she got this auntie named Jackie that she sent on dummy missions, right? So I'm smoking in my closet doing what I do, and they take a picture of me. So they hear me say, look, I'm finna go to the front office. I'm finna tell the landlord, you know, that they're doing these illegal acts or whatnot. So Jackie gets the paper with me smoking on it because they took a picture and they got a printer in their house and everything. Of course they do. They got all this equipment running straight RICO crimes out of apartment 4303 in Fort Worth, Texas. So Jackie gets this paper and she takes it down to the front office. So I speak to the landlord first, and Jackie can overhear us. So while she's overhearing us, she also heard the landlord say, no, ain't nobody, they can't do that. They shouldn't be doing it. No, that they're not doing it. She said, who's doing this? And my exact response was, because I didn't know it was 4303 apartment that was doing this at that moment. So with me not knowing, I just said, I don't know. She, you know, and she kind of talked a little bit more, but Jackie was down there with a picture of me smoking. So that was the answer right there. I just didn't know it. The answer was sitting right there, and I just didn't know it. And I often think to myself, I should have let that bitch go first. You know, showing them a picture of a 40-year-old woman smoking in her house that she paid for, that they ain't got nothing to do with, ain't got no business watching me, no way. You ain't got no business doing this. Andrea Brown was name on my lease. That bitch name was not on my lease. I didn't know the bitch. The bitch don't know me. When I moved to Fort Worth, I knew no one. And no one knew me. My apartment was brand new. Didn't even have food, not a couch, not a roll of tissue in that thing. It was brand spanking new. So after she took the picture up there, and she heard and Jackie heard the landlord say, "Nah, they weren't supposed to be doing this. Do you know that bitch snatched that paper up with that picture on there?" And she left out the office. She didn't stay and speak to the landlord, cause what she was gonna tell her? Oh, I got the picture right here. Yeah, she's smoking in her house. Bitch, I'm 40 years old. I don't give a damn if I burn that bitch down. What it got to do with her or them? So after that incident, I still hadn't put like 2 and 2 together. I still did it, you know? So after that, some type of way, Andrea got on my phone one night, and I begged, I pleaded, I cried, I did it all. And I was like, look, whatever you want, I'll get it. The first thing this stupid, illiterate hollers is she want pizza. I made it clear, if I do this for you, you gonna leave me alone? She said yes. And that day, her character, to me, became flawed. It was non-existent. So the pizza place wasn't open. So I ended up ordering from this place called Fat Shack there in Fort Worth. And I spent like $65, $70. Had this stuff DoorDash, whatever. And I wasn't thinking, you know, like wherever the food gonna go and this is what's gonna happen. But I wasn't thinking like that either. So that's how nonchalant I was thinking about it. You know, it wasn't really a big concern, because I'm thinking they'll just hack my phones and computers, and once I leave that place, or once I get me a new phone, mind you, I had like probably 40 phone numbers while staying in that apartment over there in Fort Worth. I changed my Wi-Fi password every 6 hours, because I didn't know at the time, the boyfriend named Tony, okay? I would sit in my closet to smoke or whatnot, and I would stay back there. So he did this BCI. It's called Brain Computer Interface. You don't have to touch nobody. It's just the frequency, I guess, or your brain waves, and they could kind of, I don't know the structure of it. I'm gonna read some more on it. But they installed this software on their computer, I guess, and it messes with my brain waves. You know, they're able to send like direct energy weapon shots. Because the first time I heard her speak, I was cleaning out my refrigerator, and she said something about white folks' food, you know, something to that extent. You know, again, I was smoking, so I'm thinking I'm tripping, you know. I ain't really worried about it. I didn't even say nothing back then. But then the remarks got, you know, became frequent, I remember one day, me and my daughter, I was getting ready to take her to the doctor, and something fell out my pocket. Tony must have heard it from across the room. But mind you, they're in their apartment and I'm in my apartment. And they were facing straight to me. So at this time, I'm knowing I can hear them, but they had it where only I could hear them. And they don't know how I could hear them to respond back to them, you know? So anyway, I heard Tony Rutherford say, what was that? You know, whatever. Andrea did this one time. My son came in there, and they were loud at first, because I think I was at home by myself, and they were speaking really, really loud. So as soon as they heard or see my son walk through the door, everything got quiet. Soon as he walked back out the door, I hear Andrea say, he gone, you know, and I'm going through this torture all day long. I'm talking about my life has taken a drastic turn. I will never be the woman that I was when I moved to Fort Worth in my early 40s. Today I'm 46, and I'm still going through it. They hadn't let up. Matter of fact, they didn't got worse, you know, because I don't think they think they're going to be caught. But I'm not the only one that they did this to, you know. And Tony said it himself. He was like, Jennifer think all that's about her. And I saw like on YouTube Studio where they had like 10 million views, and I was at work one night and I was an hour late clocking back in for lunch. Cause every time I would click on something, she would mess up the phone. She had ripped and took that page down, so I couldn't get it no more. Um, it's a lot of. This is a government phone that I'm on now, but a lot of stuff is in my regular phone, and it's just out of commission right now. But when I get it, I'll be able to come back on this phone and show proof with my other phone. You know, all the I'm talking about. I got buku's of proof where she's gotten loans using my name, no, using her name, my phone number, my social. You know, but it looks like okay, so it looks like I'm doing it because again, she's cloned my devices. And what reason does she have to destroy my life like this? You know, I still don't know. I'm through crying. I didn't cry a many nights, and I hear them like, I hear they have like watch parties or whatnot. So they all get their little friends, gather around, you know, to watch and sell my life illegally over the internet. I don't have relationships. The only thing I got left is my little bit of sanity, and she trying to take that because my peace is been gone. My self-worth, my confidence, my esteem, all those things have been tampered with, have been tampered with severely. You know, it was like, why are these people just watching me, you know, and critiquing every little thing I do? I can't properly function, you know, like on the job. I'm in the medical field, right? So if I'm knowing these people are watching me, and I can't just outright and tell them that, you know. So while I'm doing my job, you know, if I'm assisting someone, you know, elderly or whatnot, and if I have to take them to the restroom or, you know, help them with their activities of daily living, they're exposed, and I just did not want that to happen, you know. So a lot of jobs, every last one of them paid really well. Hours were good. I'm talking about, but Andrea is violating HIPAA laws because she's recording me, putting these people on the internet and selling it. So if I'm doing something with the elderly person, you know, as in activities of daily living, you know, bathing, grooming, you know, toileting, ambulating, whatever I'm doing, you know, the people in Fort Worth can see it all. I'm talking about. And I know elderly people are on the internet because they've done this to me. And it was non-consensual, you know, and I just asked myself, they wouldn't want anybody else to do this to them, so why are they doing this to me? You know, I was homeless for 5 years after I left Fort Worth. I was homeless because they were mirroring me, right? And through my phone, you know, they could see everything that I could see. I don't care if I leave my phone at home. I still could hear them, you know. And it's gotten to a point now, it's like a no-touch torture program where they send these direct energy shots all anywhere on my body, my head, you know, my stomach, neck, back. I catch Charlie horses in my leg, you know, my feet, you know, just send those direct energy weapons, you know, using EMF frequencies, RFID frequencies, you know, rewriting my phone calls. I hear them say often, like, I think it was the night before last, I don't know, but I have to really stay in prayer. But the night before last, I heard whoever that was watching over there with Tony and Andrea, because, you know, they have a different, like, audience every night, because some type of way, the bitch is 40 and I'm 46. I don't know nobody else age over there, and I just feel like if you got to do all this to prove your validation, why are you even here for? You know, because she's destroyed my life, literally. I did not know her, could care less about this. None of this shit started until I moved to Fort Worth, Texas. None of it. None of it. Absolutely no hacking. I didn't know them. My life was swell. So who does that? You know? So I think it was the night before last. I heard one of Tony friends ask him say something about making me cry. And he used to could do that, you know. He used to could. I'm talk about me like I was roadkill. And I would get so my feelings would be so hurt because I've never ever harmed these people. I have I had nothing left. I mean absolutely nothing. I don't have anything left. When I say I lost everything, and I mean absolutely everything behind these people who just intruded into my life. One day I'm living like this, the next day I'm living like this. You know, no car, no job, no money, a disabled child whom they can see whenever they want. You know, I hear the insults, you know, just trying to break me down to the lowest. I mean, the absolute lowest. And if I didn't have the good Lord on my side, man, I tried to commit suicide. I did. I tried because I just wanted it to all go away. And my daughter was, we were coming back from the hospital in Dallas, and I just wanted it to stop. So my daughter was bringing us back from the hospital, and it was by the grace of God, because at this time she had no children, and today she's 26, and she lives out there in another. I live in Austin, Texas, and Dre and them live in Fort Worth, Texas, and my daughter that I'm speaking on, she lives in Grand Prairie. So it's like a 3-hour drive to each of them. So as she's picking us up from the Children's Hospital in Dallas, she knows that I'm going through something. You know, I had withdrew completely. Everything about my mental, my well-being, everything about myself had declined because I just didn't care, because I didn't know that a person could be treated this bad for just moving to their apartment that had no reason at all, you know, to make me want to feel this way or make me feel like whatever. So everything about my situation took a huge decline. So as we're driving from the hospital, I can still hear them. I'm talking about, it's constant torment, constant, you know. So I'm crying, and I just wanted to end it all. So I went to go open the door, and while we were on the I-30, I think it was on 35. We on 35 headed back to Fort Worth, and I look up, and I see a couple of trucks coming, cars coming, and my daughter, I'm sitting behind her in her car, and she sees me, and I don't know if it was something in my eyes or just a heartache that had just overwhelmed me that day. I went to open the door because I was just gonna jump out the car and just end it. I didn't care. So as I went to open her door, as she's speeding like 70 miles down the highway, she had the child lock on there. I couldn't get out. She pulled over a little bit, and she let me cry for a minute while they went in the store. And then when she got back in there, you know, we headed on to the house. And I'm still being tortured at this point, you know. So we make it into the house, and the first thing she said to me, you know, that would have been selfish, right? But she didn't understand the mental anguish that I was going through. And I'm still going through it. I just have learned, I've normalized it, you know? Because no one deserves this. No one. I mean, absolutely no one deserves this. So as I'm trying to cope with everything, you know, and them buying food, no, me buying them food, you know, to leave me alone was just a muse, you know, I guess, so they could eat, whatever, you know. So they eat and they didn't keep their word, you know, and they're steady streaming, you know. So I had a candle. Me and my daughter, hold up for a second. At the time, I had no grandkids. I was in my early 40s. So I went, my daughter, she used to like my oldest child, who's 26 today, whom I said on other videos, you know, we had like, when I first moved to Fort Worth, my phone number was 940-442-2122. My email was JenniferLee53. I think it was at AOL, if I'm not mistaken. You know, I don't have that anymore. Every email address that I've had and continue to get, she has access to it. Every phone number that I had or that I have, you know, she has access to them. So I went, my daughter, whom I was speaking about, I know I'm all over the place because it's a lot. It's been going on for 6 years, so it's a lot. So I went to, my daughter used to go to UNT. That's how we ended up with Denton, Texas phone numbers. So me and her had the first 6 numbers of our phone was 940-442. Hold on. Here, Kasia. 940-442. To this day, she still has her number. And it's years later. So Andrea hacked my phone number. You know, hacked my phone number, hacked my emails. You know, I have to keep on changing emails, you know, keep on changing my Wi-Fi password. You know, so after a while, I just stopped even caring. I just stopped caring about, you know, having privacy at this point. Because she had been taking so much from me. You know, she has taken so much. I'm talking about the life of someone else being slowly taken away by someone that you don't even know, or someone who's out to destroy you for no apparent reason. You know? So if I didn't have God, I really wouldn't have anything. Hold on, let's see. Yeah. So if I didn't have God, I really wouldn't have anything. You know, I have to constantly keep myself in prayer because it's maybe 7 to 10 of them every day. And with the insults, the belittlement, you know, I can't keep a relationship. I can't keep a job because imagine you got somebody who has hacked and cloned and did this brain to computer interface on you. And all of these things are done illegally, live streaming you, selling your life overseas, using your PayPal, got all your financial information, you know, was crashing phones. When I say crashing them, I'm talking about crashing them and just making my life hell for no reason, you know. So when I go and I retaliate and I try to get help, she crashed the phones, you know, so I didn't have no proof to show anybody. Okay, so then I've already been to the FBI twice. I've already told the Fort Worth Police Department. So I got really mad one day, and I took some candles that me and my daughter had bought from Bath and Body Works. Of course, I had used them off. It was just a wick in the little glass thing, and I took that outside. And they drive this white Honda. I don't know the name of this truck, but it's like a white Honda, maybe a Pilot. I think it's a Honda Pilot, something like that. But it was white. And I threw the candle trying to bust the windshield of it. It bounced off the hood of the car. I said, okay, I can try this again. I went back in the house and retrieved something else. I threw that. That missed. Threw something else, it missed too. By that time, I said, forget it. I don't know if I did that the same day, but I walked to this gas station that was like around the corner, and I got a water bottle. And I had like $4 or $5 in my pocket. And I filled that water bottle up with gasoline. And I went and I doused it on their door. By this time, Tony had said, drill, call the police. I didn't hear him say that. I could care less. I heard him telling somebody he had to tell Andrea to call the police. I heard this. So she calls the police, and I don't know what they would say. I don't know what was said. I didn't even know no police was called, because the time it took me to douse their door with that gasoline, check my pocket, my light went in my pocket. I walked to my house and I left my door open, see, because this is her house and this is my house. And it's about that much way, this part. It's about this much space, probably a little bit wider. But you know, it's about that much space from door to door. I leave my front door open because I'm just going to get my lighter and I'm coming back because I'm finna blow these bitches up. But by the time I retrieved my lighter and I came back to the front door, I had 2 officers standing in my front door. Those officers asked me what was going on, and I tell them they disregarded everything. The only thing Andrea had to tell them is that their nest didn't even work. They went back in that house and sat right back down and started back watching me through that nest or whatever else they was using. But I know that nest was a factor. Police took me to this mental hospital up there called JPS. It took like 5 nurses to hold me down. They injected me with something. I don't know. I went to sleep for about 3 or 4 hours. I wake up. And once I woke up, I spoke to someone and I was released. About 6 hours later, I was released. She changed the whole trajectory of my life, knowing that they were doing what they were doing to me, knowing that they were watching me and are watching and is watching me. You know, changed the whole trajectory of my life. I'm not the same person that I was when I moved to Fort Worth. You know, my life has been destroyed. All because, I don't know. So after that, I walked back upstairs and the same lady, Kim, Kim, the mama, the one who brought, in my other videos, if y'all look, I said Kim, Andrea stole my Wi-Fi router in my box. You have to go watch the other video to figure out what I'm talking about. But to just give you a recap, when I first moved to Fort Worth, I ordered Spectrum. And they delivered a self-installed kit with the Wi-Fi box and the router. Andrea took it from in front of my door, got the numbers off the back of it, and then told Kim, which is the mama, to bring it back. Kim comes, knocks on my door, and she knocks on my door, and she's like, your name Jennifer? I said, yes. She said, this yours. And me, you know, not even thinking, I was like, oh, thank you, you know. Now that I think about it, I should have asked the bitch, why you delivering me my mail that was already in front of my door and then got your name on it? Why my box is open? I didn't even think to ask them no questions, though. So she gives me the boxes, I close the door, I hook up the stuff, and once I hooked up that self-installed kit, everything that was on my TV came to Andrea, which was right next door, well, right in front of me. I didn't even know. So after that, she had taken my name off of my Spectrum bill and added her name on it, put her name on it, just took my name off of my bill, put her name on it. I called Spectrum one day, I'm like, no, that's not me. I said, whatever. Because they had all of my information to do these things. You know, so I'm going back to when I got released from JPS, the mental hospital, after the nurses, after they had called the police because they didn't want the police to know what they were doing, you know, because it's a federal crime, you know. And they have taken it too far at this point. So I knew the truth, the good Lord know the truth, and they knew the truth too. So as I'm walking back upstairs going to my apartment, I see Kim outside and she's wiping out the gasoline on their door. At that point, when I got out of prayer that night, God said, you're going to move. And he did. He moved me. I left everything in that house. I left everything in the apartment. From food, I just left everything. I had a cast iron skillet, a seasoned cast iron skillet, 2 of them. My baby, I had just bought her, because I was fixing my house up. I left lamps, I left glass tables, I left a futon there, I left a king size California bed, I left Hisense 42-inch TVs, 43-inch TVs. I left all of that stuff right there in that house. I left bar stools, you know. I left all of my dishes, all of the food, you know, all of our, I took some of our clothes, but most of them stayed back there. Um, so I was forced to move out of my house because I didn't want them watching me inside of my house. And me not knowing that moving, they were just gonna follow me, I just left everything. So after that, I moved to Houston, and I'm talking about I had to move to a hotel, and that's when I became homeless. And I just got me an apartment this year. And now this happened years ago. I just got on my feet. But while I'm getting on my feet, I'm staying in hotels, I'm staying at Airbnbs, you know, I'm keeping a job because it was a must to have income coming in, you know? It was a must. So I looked on Craigslist. I've stayed in shelters, you know. So when I got my income tax back, I was looking online for a vehicle, and I bought one, a 2014 Dodge Avenger Red. It was nice to me, you know. I didn't worry about wanting to have it detailed or nobody looking at it. I bought it from the college kid and his dad. I guess his granddad, I don't know. But he gave me the title right there in his hand, and I gave him $2,500 for it, and that was my car. It ran, you know. I could drive it. So I had it for a little while. I had it for a good little minute, you know, and I put some work into it. I put a new starter in there. I put a new alternator. I put new batteries, you know. I rotated my tires. I think I put 2 new tires on the front. I did wheel bearing on it. I put a wheel bearings on it. I did my brakes, you know. I just was putting into it, you know, little by little. So Andrea stopped messing with that, you know, because one thing about her, she cannot stand to see me smile or happy or have anything, you know. So, and again, I just don't know why this jealousy, this envy, this hate run this deep in this black female that stays in the projects in Fort Worth with her mama, with 2 children, her baby dad, her cousins, her aunties, her friends. She got all this, and it's just me. So she started off by tearing up my car. Okay, my car, and I'm not knowing she's doing this. You know, I'm just thinking it's just messing up, because it is, at this point, it is a 10-year-old car. So the first thing she did was sold my radio to this company. Something started with a H in Japan, HUWYY or something like that. But it's my radio was a Pioneer radio, and she just shut it down where it wouldn't even turn on. It wouldn't do nothing. And I'm like, oh wow. So I'm thinking I had just blew a fuse in there, you know. So I had somebody to look at it, like, look, do you see where I blew a fuse at? Because my radio is not working, and it was just working, you know. Because I went that particular day, I had to be at work, I think at 2:00, and I went to look at an apartment that morning. So while I'm looking at that 1-bedroom apartment, I came back to get ready for work, and when I got ready for work and I came and sat in my car, you know, I would turn my radio on and Pioneer would come across the screen. Pioneer didn't come on, you know. So at this point, I ain't really worried about it. So, well, you know, whatever. But after a day or so, it wouldn't turn on. I got to looking like the fuses, you know. So after a while, I just didn't even worry about it because I didn't. Still, I didn't know she was messing with my car, and she's doing this all the way in Fort Worth. I'm in Austin now, and she's in Fort Worth. So I'm gonna tell you how she did it. She downloaded this OBD2 scanner app from the Play Store. She put my VIN number, the make, the model of my car. She put the color in there, and she got the whole diagnostic list of things, you know. And on there, you could do the demo, or you can hook it up to Bluetooth Low Energy, so you can, you know, do it remotely. So that's what I think she did, you know. So anyway, She started with the radio after she shut the radio down, and I couldn't. It wasn't no more good, no more. She shut the radio down. She changed the languages on it, and it just went black. And the only way I could get a listen to it or listen to the radio inside of my car that I paid for, I had to take that whole system out. It wasn't not even wrong with it. I had to take that whole system out and put a new, brand new system in there, and I wasn't gonna do that. So I ain't worried about that. So the radio is gone now. So me and my daughter, we both had cell phones, of course. So I would have to get speakers, not speakers, like Bluetooths to go in my ear, and and just listen to my phone on the way to work, whatever. So in doing that, other things started happening. She did a reverse engineering on my car's head unit. Made my car run so hot, and this was around Christmas time. Yeah, it was around Christmas time last year. This was around Christmas time last year. So I'm staying in a hotel. I'm working. My child at school. Because again, I'm homeless. I just found stable housing this year. So we're staying in a hotel, and it's my only vehicle. I ain't got no house. I'm living paycheck to paycheck. At this point, I got 5 kids, and now I have 5 grandkids. So I'm helping my daughter out with her baby. I'm helping my son out with his baby, and I got to take care of myself. And it's just me because, again, they have beat me down so much that, relationships don't normally work out because I'm too busy trying to build my confidence, my self-worth back up. I just want my peace back. So I'm too busy trying to build that back up because Andrea, every time she gets around, they totally just belittle, dehumanize, whatever. So anyway, I'm staying in a hotel, and it's around Christmas time. So I got approved for this address here in Austin, 1172 Weberville Road, apartment 303. Had my deposit paid. I had the cable, the lights, the gas. I had all that was turned on before I could move in. I needed $300. I had $300. The rent was prorated. And my little girl, I told her, we staying in the hotel now. That morning when we got up, I told her, I said, when you get out of school this morning, I'm gonna have the keys to our house. I'm just skipping all over, but I'm gonna tell this story, but then I go back to, kind of fill in some gaps. And so this was last year around Christmas time. So I tell her, when you get out of school, we're gonna have a house. And at this point, she's very excited because we've been homeless for so long. I done paid thousands on top of thousands of dollars staying in hotels, Airbnbs, getting a car fixed. She's got to come to work with me at nighttime. She's in the car asleep. We didn't sleep out in parking lots. We didn't sleep in front of Quick Trip stores. We have done it all. And my child was right there with me. So when Andrea tore up this car, I'm going to tell you how God works. She tore it up. I'm talking about tore it up. She made it run hot that morning. And she knew that I had to go, try to move into my house. She didn't want me to have no house to stay in because it was around holiday time. So the lady when I got approved for the apartment, the lady said, well, bring the prorated rent over there, $597. I had $300, and I was going to take something to the pawn shop and get another $300 for it. I had an Apple Watch. I took it to the pawn shop, and my daughter, I forgot she had it the night before. So her Apple ID was on there. Let me back. Mind you, I tell my daughter that morning when we get up, look, I got everything we need. I'm going to have a keys to our house. When I pick her up from school this morning, we're going to go home. She was so excited. She's like, okay, So I go and I drop her off at school. Andrea had made my car run extremely hot. She had been doing this, but this particular day, I saw it looked like a little sailboat icon. And the car started beeping, and it cut off. And this man who was in the second lane, he saw all the smoke coming from me. He was like, "You fine?" I was, no. He said, "Can I help you?" And I got out the car, and I got my little portable battery things. And I was like, "No, I got it." He said, "You sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." At this point, I know she's doing this. I know she's doing it because she's already read about the radio. She's already messing with my tires, taking all the air out my tires. My car was like leaning, like it was higher on the driver's side than it was it's called the TPI, the TMI, whatever, tire pressure. She was taking the pressure off of my tires. She could, using this OBD2 scanner app, I could be driving. I could feel her pulling the steering wheel left to right, try to make me crash. She dimmed my headlights so much, it didn't even look like my high beams were on, and it still looked like I had fog lights on. And I thought it was just film in front of my fog lights. So, after all of that, she made the car run really hot. And this was the day I was supposed to quit the apartment. Mind you, it was only $597 to move in. I had $300 in cash on me, and I was going to go take that Apple Watch to the pawn shop. I had $77 on my Cash App. So when she made my car run hot, it cranked up for a minute, and as soon as I made it to my destination right there, it just cut off. So that means I had to go back to the hotel, pick up my stuff, catch an Uber back to my car, put my stuff back in the back of my car, catch an Uber to the pawn shop to pawn this watch. I'm trying to do all this before 2 o'clock in the evening. Mind you, it's already 10. So, and I ain't got but $77. So I'm gonna make this work. So I go back to the hotel where I was staying at, gathered my stuff, went back to my car, took the Apple Watch to a pawn shop that was near the landlord's office that I was gonna take the money to. Because mind you, I had $3 in my pocket, and I was gonna get the money for this. Make it to the pawn shop. They was gonna buy the Apple Watch, but they couldn't have that Apple ID on there, and I didn't know how to take it out. It was my daughter's Apple ID. So, mind you, I only had $77 now. So this is the last $20-something that I could spend. So I said, okay, I'm gonna run to her school and I'll be right back. I get to her school. I catch an Uber from the pawn shop back to her school, back to my daughter's school. I go into school, me and my daughter stood outside for like 15, almost 30 minutes. Because every time she would take her Apple ID off, Andrea would put it back on there. Every time she take Apple ID off, Andrea would put it back on there. It frustrated my girl. So I just told her, look, forget it. So by this time, the lady had called me, and she was like, well, Miss Jennifer, you can't make it in here today. You're just gonna have to wait till January the 7th of 2025, and we can renew your lease, and then we'll just give you a prorated amount for that much. And I'm like, no, it's gonna be Christmas in a couple of days. It's the holidays. I just ain't got the money like that to keep on paying for a hotel room. The car was down because it wouldn't crank up no more that day. It wouldn't crank up none. And I'm trying to run errands, and I'm talking about I was crushed that day. So I told my little girl, I was like, don't even worry about it. She said, Mom, I can't take it off. You keep on hopping back on here, So when Andrea kept putting the Apple ID back on there so I couldn't sell the Apple Watch, my baby just gave it to me, and I walked down to the bus stop. By this time, I'm crying because, dude, I was fooling when I asked him. I was like, look, I need $300. And he was like, I maybe give you $100, but I ain't got $3. I was like, no, I need the whole thing because they didn't want to take no partial payments. I was supposed to go and sign my lease, get them folks at $597 and get my key. I had already turned my lights on, my gas, everything was ready to go. I just was missing my key. So I cried and I walked. And that's the day I decided, something had to give. And I was thinking about, no, I wasn't thinking about it. I was going to seriously hurt her to the point of no coming back. Because she's taken so much from me in my life. Why am I struggling at the hands of a woman who stayed way in Fort Worth who don't want me to have nothing that she hadn't given me? Why are they making my life so hard? Why are they doing this to me? And I have to still question myself that today. So I catch a bus right back to where my car is, and I just start crying, you know. Hour later, whatever, my daughter is calling. I have no way to get her because, again, Andrea had messed up the car that morning. It wouldn't crank. So I had no way to get her. So I had to call an Uber and tell the Uber folks to drop her off at the La Quinta Inn and Suites. Call La Quinta Inn and Suites, say, look, I'm Jennifer Lee. I'm finna pay for us another night, you know, because we had been staying there, you know, so I'm finna pay for us another night or whatnot. So after I got all that squared away, by the grace of God, my car cranked, but it was going rather slow because of how hot it could get. And hopefully I didn't have to go but like, what, maybe 6 minutes or 7 minutes, you know, up the road, down the street, round the corner. And I parked it, you know, with the tire pressure so low, with it smoking, with no radio, with no house. I was just thinking about it now. I was just in a position to want to off myself again, but I didn't because me and my daughter is the only, she's 14 today, and we the only two here. And then I got so much to live for. I got 5 beautiful grandkids, you know. I still got my children living, you know, and we going through some stuff, but it's nothing like what Andrea and her family had put more on me just because they ain't been caught yet. So when I made it to the hotel room or whatnot, I walk in my hotel room where I go up there, you know, I pay for another night. Probably pay for a couple of nights because I did have the still of $300 in my pocket. So I paid for us a couple of extra nights. And I told my daughter, like, look, I ain't gonna be able to get you enough for Christmas. And she, you know, she said, well, I don't want enough for Christmas. So, okay. So, that night, I think it was Christmas was like a week away. So, Christmas Day, my car still wasn't working because Andrea just tore it up. I'm talking about made it run hot. She was messing with my brakes, messing with the steering wheel, messing with, like, I'm talking about she did like whole reverse engineering on my car. She joined this Dodge Avenger forum, and she would say things like, I'm trying to rebuild my engine, and you know, she would just ask questions to see how she could mess up my car, and she did it. You know, I paid $2,500 for it. I ended up selling it for $300. You know, so Christmas Day, me and my baby are sitting in the room, and she didn't get nothing for Christmas. You know, and it's again, it became just like a regular day. Only thing we did special was we had to walk across the street, and I took her out to eat for Christmas. She's a very, you know, I do what I do for her because she knew what we were going through, and it was just me. So took her across the street. We got something. We went out to eat for Christmas Day, just me and her, and came on back to the room. And I'm sitting there, and I'm sad, and I'm sobbing, and I'm just trying to think of. But again, I don't know these people, and I have no idea why they would want to see me down and out without a penny, you know, without a penny to my name. So after I didn't get the apartment, after the car had broken, they had nowhere to go, absolutely nowhere. They gave me the deposit back for that apartment. The deposit was like $1,100. So they gave me the deposit back. They cut me a check. I went to pick up the check. So I paid for another couple of nights in the hotel. And then I went to catch a cab to go to the store to cash this check. And I'm gonna see how God works. This man who was driving the car, I asked him, I was like, how much you gonna charge to take me here and there? Because I was supposed to go get another car for $600. I found another car on Craigslist, and the head gasket was busted on that car, but I figured I can get the head gasket fixed. I just wanted a car at this point because I knew that if I didn't get a car, it wasn't no way I could make it. So this guy starts telling me about he got a car, this X amount of dollars, and just give him $500 in his mind. And I did. I gave him $500. He took me out there somewhere, and he gave me the keys to it. Took a picture of my ID and my social, got my phone number, and he like enjoy. He drove on off. So here I am sitting in this 2023 Hyundai Accent, 4-door gray, nice little car. I was so happy, but I didn't know how to get back home. Well, back to the hotel, because again, I wasn't familiar with driving in Austin like that, especially going long distances. I just didn't know, and then it was raining that day too. And do you know the ridicule Andrea put on me for trying to provide, ugly, stinking, bald head, don't nobody care, I'm just doing things to make me feel bad, after she has already, after 6 years of this, after 6 years of somebody constantly belittling you, dehumanizing you, then took your privacy, your integrity, then took everything that makes me me. Only thing I got left is a small piece of sanity, and it's back here in my psyche. So after all of that, I get home and I show my daughter, and she's excited, take her to Wingstop, and at this point, I'm not working, so we are homeless again because I don't have no money for no hotel. I don't have anything, and we stayed in Quick Trip parking lot. I pulled her out of school, so stayed in Walmart parking lots. They told me at my job that I couldn't bring her to work with me anymore. I mean, it's just so many things were happening, but I went to this church, right? And they started to help me. And this was like months later. This was This was this year, earlier this year. This is like January of this year. I went to this church, right? And this church poured out so much love for me. And they set us up in a hotel, and they paid for the hotel. I ended up getting a job, and things were starting to look up. So the guy whom I said that sold me that car, the actual owner of the car called me, and me and him had a conversation, and he was like, bring me that car. I don't even roll like that. I'm gonna put you in something brand new and this, that, and the other. And he did just that. He put me in a 2024 Ford Edge. Now, mind you, this is the third car. Okay, so while I was in that Hyundai Accent, she was trying to mess with it, but I didn't care. I just didn't care. So after that Hyundai Accent, I got that. After Andrea had tore up my red car that I had bought, she was trying to do something to the Hyundai Accent, whatever she was trying to do with it, because I saw like the little icons on the thing. She was trying to do something with the airbags, trying to make it. I don't know what the bitch was trying to do to that car, because mind you, she had told me after she tore up that car, I said, I'm just gonna buy another one. She was like, I'm gonna tear up every car you get, and she did just that. Well, tried to do just that. So after that great Hyundai Accent, he put me in a 2024 Ford Edge. It was brand new. I took the plastics out, and it still had the white paper in it. The white paper with the footprints in it. And I sat in that parking lot again. I cried because I ain't have to put it. I ain't come out of my pocket with. I ain't have $0. I ain't have to come out of my pocket with $0. So at this time, I didn't have anything. I'm driving around in this 2024 Ford Edge. Me and my daughter staying at the Studio Inn Suites, Studio 6 Suites. And it's like a little bitty studio with the kitchen, the bathroom, the TV, the bed, whatnot, and it's just me and her. So I have to come out my money for shelter, for food. The church was giving me like HEB cards, to help me, gas cards, whatever they could do. They kept my truck on full, so at this point, God is blessing me as Andrea is taking what he's blessed me with. So a couple of months go by. I started to get on my feet a little bit. So I moved to another part of another part of Austin called Georgetown. So out there, I'm working and I'm still homeless. And I found a job, get paid once a week. So I had to choose between the car note and somewhere to stay. I chose somewhere to stay. So when I turned that truck back in, the owner of that truck said, "Look, I'm not gonna leave you stranded." He gave me another car. And this time he gave me a 2024 Ford Maverick. That was nice too. So I drove that for a couple months, 3 or 4 months, I don't know. I drove it for a little while. So then by this time I have moved from Georgetown and I found me an apartment. I still staying in a hotel, but I found me an apartment with zero security deposit, zero application fee. And I put an application fee, I did the application on Thursday. By Saturday, we had the keys. And me and my daughter stayed in that empty apartment, empty, cold. We didn't have nothing but clothes and a few covers. You know, didn't have a TV, didn't have anything. So after that, again, I found me a job. And my first day at work, my first day I was supposed to be at work, I go outside and my truck had been towed. It was that Ford Maverick. It had been towed. So I called the owner of the truck and he was like, "Miss Jen, you know you can't drive no $40,000 car and not pay nothing." You know, and I said, okay. I said, "So when I give me some more money, you gonna bring me another car?" You know, and he agreed. So I think like a month had passed. Not even a month, because I had got my paycheck. Like 2 weeks had passed or something like that, because I remember catching a bus to work. You know, I had to leave like at 12 and have to leave work early, whatever. I remember catching a bus to work. So this last car he got me, he bought me a 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 5, and it was electric. So I had that car all the way up until August the 5th, and the tags were out on it, and I got pulled over. And I ended up going to jail. And they towed my car. And they didn't tell me where it was for 3 weeks, but by the time they told me where it was, the prices had racked up on it, so I didn't get it out. I couldn't get it out because I had just moved to me another apartment God had blessed me with. And this is the one I'm sitting in now. My other apartment, when I had the Ford Maverick, you know, Andrea was still doing things, you know, trying to take stuff, you know, but I didn't buy a piece of furniture in that house. I had 3 big TVs. I'm talking about huge. No, I had 2 huge TVs and 1 Samsung Smart TV. I had gotten beds, free beds to go in my room, covers for my beds, dishes. I had plants. I was fixing it up. So when I got ready to move, I put my things in storage. And by this time, I moved August the 1st to this apartment. So I went to jail August the 5th. I got out on August the 6th. August the 7th, I called and I was looking for my vehicle. They didn't tell me where it was until like August the 28th or 29th, like a couple of days before my birthday. So by that time, it had been racked up so many charges, I couldn't afford it. But my belongings was in that car. Still hadn't got those back. So back to square one again. And now it's like, I don't have a car because when they towed it and didn't nobody act like where it was, you know, my mama had to pay X amount of dollars for me getting out of jail. And I ain't talking about no few dollars either. Until she came up off of it to help get me out of jail. I just spent 1 night in jail. And when she paid that money to get out of jail, I was gonna have to ask her. Cause mind you, before I moved here, they was towing my truck. They towed my truck from like July the 7th to July the 28th. And every week I would go and get that truck out. Every week, $300 to the tow yard. Cause this time it was my Hyundai Ioniq. and it didn't have the sticker decal on it no more. So when the tow man would come through, they would just pull the truck. And it didn't matter if I told them, and I know 3 weeks straight, they towed my truck. 3 weeks straight. So I went and got it every time. And then this last time, didn't nobody act like they knew where it was, and I was calling, I was looking for it, whatever. So I hadn't called the guy back to ask him, can I get it back? Because I don't even want it back. So I'm back to square one, but things are starting looking up. But the attacks from Andrea Bryant and this gang stalking and this harassment and this cyberbullying and this hacking and stolen identity and using my social, got insurance policies on us, and able to belittle, dehumanize, and take everything that makes me me. She just bottled it like it's a sheet of paper, and play on it, so she can have some type of validation, I guess. Whatever it is, I've been hurt. I'm going through the crushing right now due to somebody else who don't even know me, who just like real life imposters, intruders in my life. And y'all can't imagine what that feels like to have somebody make you feel like you inadequate 24 hours a day. That's all I hear. But that's some of my story. I'm going to come back and fill y'all in, but these people who did me like this, who destroyed my life completely, left me to pick up the pieces, whom did not even know me, didn't have to do this. And I have to constantly pray. Because God said, a curse without cause, it won't land. And that's why he keeps blessing me. But she keeps on with this harassment. I'm talking about, it's severe. The direct energy weapons, they are severe. I don't sleep like a normal person should, Nothing about my life is private. Nothing. Relationships, they can hear and see everything about me. So again, these people stay in Fort Worth, Texas, and I stay in Austin, and it's been going on for 6 years. The Fort Worth Police Department, I've reached out to them. I've been to the FBI twice. I've even told Austin Police Department. So with them doing this, then crushed me. And when I build myself back up, they just start everything all over again, And I'm stuck suffering in silence, So I don't know what their end game is. But I got to keep on keeping on, because this is my life. And whoever told them that they could have it or could mess with it or they can take it or make me seem unfit, they lied to them. I won't give up. And much as they talk, about me, they are still in Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm way in Austin. So just imagine they're talking over like a ham radio frequencies, RFID type things, using Bluetooth low energy, BLE, using phones, that they hacked and cloned, just anything to make sure I know that they are there, attention seekers. And it's one of me, about 7 to 10 of them. And I go through this all day long, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't catch a break. But being said, I'm going to get off here. Yeah, I got to stay safe. These people stay in Fort Worth, Texas. I don't know. They're no kin to me. I've never physically met them in person. We have never had said anything to each other cordial. I just don't know. So they stay at 2800 Thorson Lane, apartment 4303 in Fort Worth, Texas, 76116. Andrea Nicole Bryant. She's about 40 years old. She has 2 kids. She stays in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. Her mama name is Kim. She got an auntie named Jack, and she got a boyfriend named Tony. I don't know who Sarah Mona and Calvin. I don't know who they are, or I just heard them call names. That's it. Tina, I may have heard that too. But that's what it is. I'm going to sign off. I'll be back after a while. God, keep me blessed. Y'all stay blessed too.